I noticed your mana was going up to 9 without ramping or anything. What stops you from sitting in a corner and summoning a bunch of walls or swarming the board with 1 and 2 drops? The only thing that technically stops you from doing that, Rune, it is a valid strategy, mind you. There are decks that can just stay over on their side of the board and have, by the time your opponent gap closes, that you could have a good defensive setup. The reason that doesn't work in theory is the center mana tiles. These here are basically coins that you can pick up and give you bonus mana for a turn. And so if you stay on your side of the board, I get to walk into the middle and take all of these, and then I'll be able to put on a lot more pressure. So you want to kind of contest against me. Furthermore, if you don't walk towards me to summon units to fight me, I could just play a bunch of ranged units on my side, and if I get set up before you do, then I'm just going to win the game. Crystal Wisps ramp me when they die. Yes. Moving on to the mana with a minion or your general or summoning something on that refunds you 1 mana. Mana doesn't carry over turn by turn the way it does in Duelyst. So seeing Aethermaster tells me this could just be artifact combo, Mask of Shadows or Blood Rage Mask. So I think I'm supposed to summon this Crystal Wisp behind me. I don't know. That is very true. Your general has base attack as well and can move and attack just like minions. So if your general is in a super defensive spot and your minions have to just fight on their own, you aren't fixing the trades in your favor as well. You could go for like a heavy swarm build, but it's just the fact that your opponent can see you. Here's the other thing too, Rune, is that when you're summoning your units, you have a lot of them, but because you aren't summoning them centrally, it takes, like, if you summon a unit here, and I'm over here, it's going to take 1, 2, 3, 3.5 or 4 turns for that unit to actually become useful. So by the time that 1 drop crosses the board and actually becomes a threat to me, I have stuff that's way bigger than it or doesn't care, or it dies to AoE before it gets in and actually does what it wants. This is spell combo. Arcanist? I wonder if it's Owlbeast Sage. Oh god, if this is Owlbeast Sage, I'm cooked. Oh, Zenrui. Hang on a second. What's the nastiest thing for me to steal here? I guess Mana Forger. And I'm gonna take this mana tile. I don't like it, but I'm going to Hailstone the Chakri Avatar. Also, make sure you check out the Duelyst 2 Kickstarter because we've been smashing the stretch goals. Because of the stretch goals, everybody gets free premium currency. So far, we're up to 750. So when you get your account, you're going to get free orbs right off of the bat from all the Kickstarter backers. If you back at a certain tier, they gift 1,000 spirit orbs, like, randomly to a bunch of accounts, and everybody's gonna get free cosmetic currency. So then you can swag out your favorite general that you want to one-trick as soon as you start the game. Ooh, nice. That was really good. Trade, Ghost Lightning. I've ramped into Archon Spellbinder, though, which is really good to shut down this Chakri Avatar from schwiggity-schwootying my booty, so we're just gonna do that. You can kill this Aethermaster. Alright, so this is important. I'm going to summon the Archon Spellbinder in front of me in order to protect its back tile, right? Because of backstab. I don't know how big a threat that actually is, but Archon Spellbinder is a 6 mana 7/9, and it makes your opponent's spells +1 mana. And so this is nasty. Like, this is exactly the kind of unit that Demacia should have, but they're too afraid to print. Do you play against new players and viewers? Yes. Oh, yeah. We used to do that all the time. Especially because in Duelyst, which I keep forgetting to mention, it's a global server, by the way. No, there's no separation of accounts and shards. If you're popping off, if you're one of the best on the ladder, you're one of the best in the whole world. We can throw tournaments that are all global. It's sick nasty. And we've got match replays. So what I like to do for Duelyst is if you've got a really cool replay, either a really sick game that happened or a nice comeback you made, your opponent was playing a funny deck you wanted to show off, or you wanted me to just analyze your gameplay to see if maybe there was something you could have done better to pull out a W, then you can redeem points, and we're going to do those viewer replays. Oh my god, it is Owlbeast Sage. Heavens to Betsy. I love this fork, by the way. Owlbeast Sage, whenever you play a spell, Arcanist, allied Arcanist gain +2 HP. That includes itself. You can see underneath the name, the Arcanist tag here. Chakri Avatar is also an Arcanist. So this thing is going to start hyperscaling. And by moving the Archon Spellbinder, the Chakri Avatar over to this side, and Owlbeast Sage on this side, I now have a split threat that I need to deal with. Fortunately, I'm Vanar, and Vanar does not ever care about stuff like this because I've got 1 mana. I've got 1 mana mini morph. 1 mana turns something into a 3/3. And then I can mop up this Chakri Avatar and then play another Archon Spellbinder. I can be a little bit safer and just play the Spellbinder here rather than walking down, because if they have buff spells for this 3/3, they could still punch me really hard, and I don't want to live in that world. So I'm just going to lock them down, because Spellbinder cost increase stacks. Also, I keep forgetting to replace. Every turn in Duelyst, you can take 1 card from your hand, shuffle it back into your deck, and get a new card. It's called a replace. And you want to do that every turn. Not necessarily every turn. If your hand's really good, you're fine. But in Duelyst, you'll lose games because you'll be like, I don't need Aspect of the Fox, and then you'll replace it because you're trying to greed for more threat potential. And then in 2 turns, when your opponent plays a big threat that you need to answer and you don't have Aspect of the Fox, you're going to lose. So the replace mechanic and the positioning are very, very important in this game. 5 mana Onyx Bear Seal. Its base cost is 3, and it's increased to 5 because of Spellbinder. But now the real threat of this deck kicks in with Dark Nemesis. Oh, I actually should have moved the panda here. I'm actually really bad. I opened up a line for the 3/3 to trade into my Spellbinder. I should have left the panda here. The upside is they get to answer a threat. The downside is that the panda can't be attacked. So it's like a free body blocker I have for the rest of the game. So I definitely messed up here by moving this. There's no reason to. Actually, the only reason would be to give me access to this corner. You can summon units nearby your general or nearby other friendly units. Adjacent on an adjacent tile, one of these. So theoretically, by having the panda here, it gives me access to summon things down in this corner to keep the pressure on Kalios. I'm retroactively trying to justify my bad play, but trust, you never want to do this. You want to just move the panda and leave it here as a blocker. There's very little difference between this square and this square. Onyx Bear Seal number 2. Uh-oh. So, Songhai has a spell called Juxtaposition, which lets you swap the spots of 2 units. And the reason my opponent is running the Fox Ravager over here into the corner where it doesn't do anything is because they plan on using Juxtaposition to throw the Archon Spellbinder into this corner. If I were you, I'd Fox the Mana Forger. In case this is also a spell combo, it offsets my Spellbinder, and then I become very sad. I can Zenrui it, though, which means that my misplay becomes a delicious real play now. Because now I have access to summon into this corner. But I have that play anyway, whether or not the panda's here or here. So I could Zenrui the Mana Forger. And then just summon Emerald Rejuvenator. And that allows me to save my Aspect of the Fox for their second Owlbeast Sage. Okay. So the thing is like, I could be really, really cheeky and just move my Archon Spellbinder away from me to play around Juxtaposition, but they get to Jux anything. It doesn't matter where my Archon Spellbinder actually is. Just a fun thought. I'm gonna replace War Master. Again, I'm replacing last because I'm like not playing efficiently. What does it mean to equip an artifact? So artifacts are weapons that you can put onto your general. You can have up to 3 equipped. Every time you take a singular instance of damage, the artifact loses 1 charge. And after an artifact loses 3 charges, it breaks. Artifacts usually enchant your general with extra attack power and bonus passive effects a lot of the time. And then you just drag it from your hand onto your general, just like a spell. Ambush asks, Runeterra player here, I don't understand the design reason why there's mana in the middle, and also one player starts with more mana than the other. Is it for the advantage of starting first, or is it to encourage players to go to the middle? It's actually both of those, Ambush. That's exactly right. Yep, there's the juxtaposition like we talked about. The mana in the middle is to encourage the generals to go towards the center to fight for this resource. And player 1 starts with 2 mana, and then player 2 starts with 3 mana. Again, just to offset first turn advantage. And because your mana cap's at 9, it just means that the game is a little bit more explosive. You ramp up to like more threatening mid-game stuff a bit faster. The game by design is supposed to be very tempo-oriented. I can transform my own pandas into wolves. So let me calc this real quick. We've got, with Razorback, we've got 3, 4, 5, plus 6, which is 11, plus another 6, which is 17, plus another 3, which is 22. So if I transform this and then play Razorback, this should be lethal. And you'll lose games because you miscount. There is no Oracle's Eye. You got to do them quick maths. Especially if it's like 8, if you're at like 8 or 9 mana, you can do 2 mana into Mind Steal to just draw a ton and then play whatever good neutrals you happen to pull. This is my control deck. The Gravity Well, it's probably best to just use it early. Because, the later the game goes, the higher the liability of it getting cleaned up by Warbeast. Zen Rui's kind of cool versus Young Silithar, yeah. I'm gonna greed like this, so I get my ramp to Zen Rui. I think is the way I want to play it. Because my opponent can, like, walk forward, summon something here, take this mana, do big thing. Then I can Zen Rui to kind of flip the tempo a bit by taking one of their units. Establishing a unit and then taking one of your opponents is just, like, of course, very, very strong. And Young Silithar is a good target to take. Just because it's, like, really sticky and I can just use it as a free body blocker. The egg is a Warbeast liability, of course, but... Oh my god, they're running Venom Toth. Wowzers. Well... I don't like it, but I'm just going to Gravity Well like this. Just to buy myself some time. The Warbeast has a really big threat of blowing out my Zen Rui play that I'm setting up here. Depending on what my opponent plays and where, I might be able to set up some anti-Warbeast positioning. If Ragnar is locked in the middle and I take away their summoning point, I can walk down, play Zen Rui here to steal here, and then they can't wipe all 3. How long is the playtest running? It was extended to the 7th, Barrison. Terrible shame. I guess that's as good a target as any to Hailstone Prison. Then I run away so they don't get the Warbeast off of my Frostwells. And I guess just to be efficient, I'm just going to throw these down over here to keep Ragnar away from me, because these are huge liabilities if I summon them near any of my stuff. Best Abyssian strat for the current meta? Shadow Creep, I think, is probably the best Abyssian deck. You can run a lot of neutral healing and good Abyssian removal, and then just get the Shadow Nova to win. And your opponent has to, like, be playing very, very specifically in order to beat you. Oh, my opponent was only on 5 mana. Abyssian can, Shadow Creep Abyssian is more, control. I think I just hold my ground, actually. There is, like, Swarm Abyssian. The thing about, like, Lilith and stuff is your opponent is going to be anticipating Blood Moon Priestess and Shadow Dancer, so it's really, really difficult to get those set up as real win conditions. I haven't played a ton of Abyssian, so I wouldn't be able to say for sure. But yeah. My opponent's got a really good War Beast here with the egg and all that, but... Oh, they're going to do like this. Oh, I see. Yeah, they open themselves up to clear the egg. Yeah, great play. So I can play Spellbinder here and then walk 2 down to play around second War Beast, not being able to deal damage to this. And it's still in a great position to threaten any of these tiles that are near me. Again, when it comes to Mechantor War Beast, you just have to minimize the impact of getting your board wiped. Like, this being alive as a 4/4 is problematic, but, like, we're threatening it here. And, yeah, wow. This positioning is very, very strong. You see here all of the threat potential to hit these tiles and keep Ragnarok off of me. They need to have, like, Eggmorph, which they could have. Yeah, they had Eggmorph. That is their whole turn, though, just dealing with that rather than pressuring me further, so I guess I'm happy. Why does it say they have 3 mana left, though? Because Eggmorph was increased by 1. Oh. So their hand is full, so I can Hailstone this Mechantor War Beast. And then, when you're playing around Mechantor War Beast, you play your units in a diagonal formation like this, so that when the Mechantor War Beast hits, they can only choose to hit your general plus 1 thing. Right? They can't kill all 3 of your things. So, in this position, my opponent can Mechantor here to kill the Emerald Rejuvenator, and then, like, maybe trade the Ravager into my Healing Mystic. We're getting to the late game, and I'm pretty topped off, but it depends on how much late game my opponent's actually running. Like, in my deck, I was only running Mechantor as my top end, no Silithar Elder. We get the raid from Caden. Yo, welcome in. Thank you so much, Caden. Appreciate that. So they have their own Rejuvenator, so no War Beast. We can get the 1-for-1 trade if we want it. Play like Jack's True Sight. Just say, do you have Plasma Storm game? It's that natural selection. Late game like this is where my Hailstone becomes really good. I think they realized that I just wanted to take the 1-for-1 trade and I wasn't actually going to Nat Cell. Oh, Cold Biter. So we move blech. Okay, wait, no, I see it. So we move like this. We summon Jack's True Sight here. Then I move down this way, hit and equip Cold Biter, which deals 2 damage. So it finishes off the Emerald Rejuvenator, so I can get this value trade. Do I keep... From this position, I probably don't need Zenrui, but yeah. So now we're even HP. My board is big. My opponent can just Plasma Storm and do something else here. This is... Jack's True Sight is just an AoE check, if I'm being perfectly honest. But you see the positioning here minimizes the War Beast once more, because I summoned a bunch of 1/1s that War Beast can frenzy off of. I'm spreading myself out so that if my opponent uses Mechanter War Beast, they have to choose between clearing units or hitting me in the face for damage. And the War Beast, where it is left, is easier for me to deal with. Yep, so they do have the Plasma Storm. And then they're going to have 4 mana left over. Young Silithar is a Zen Rui target. So I can Zen Rui the Silithar. Then play a Ephemeral War Master here. Again, we get this nice diagonal formation. My opponent has a really good War Beast here, however, but then the Ephemeral War Master survives. Now I'm starting to draw into my healing. My late game is Dark Nemesis and Archon Spellbinder. My opponent's only used 1 Eggmorph so far. So once I start playing big threats, my opponent could play the Spellbinder. Because I showed them Jack's True Sight, my opponent might be forced to sit on a second Plasma Storm. And if that's the case, my opponent is playing -1 card just as a backup. Because if you don't answer Jack's True Sight, I win the game. So my opponent's down 1 card from this position always. If my opponent wanted to be a little greedier, I guess they can do trade, Mechanter the egg. So the Mechanter is left behind. I do have my Cold Biter still. So at the end of my turn, I deal 2 damage to nearby enemy minions, so I can keep kiting away from my opponent. Clearing the Fenrir. I think I'm only running 2 Zen Rui. So this looks like a Mechanter War Beast play to me. But they don't get to kill the egg if they do that. Yeah, it's not War Beast. Is it Silithar Elder? Nope, just a Rejuvenator. Cool. So I can trade here and then walk here, and then Cold Biter finishes these off. And then my opponent has to clear the egg, right? So then I'm just going to do another Ephemeral War Master. Again, just trying to play in a zigzag, like, diagonally formation. My opponent's, like, really heavily corralled as well. Leaving the egg here, of course, gigantic liability versus War Beast, but this is the point of the game where if the War Beast isn't putting your opponent in the dirt, it doesn't do quite enough to buy the board back from you. If I was my opponent, I'd probably have to War Beast over here. And then like try to run this way. Rather than dealing face damage. Because I'm still pretty healthy, right? And if they War Beast, I have Cold Biter. So I can still get my trades if I need them. Ephemeral War Master leaves a 3/3 behind when it dies. So my board is very resilient towards that play. And this is something I was trying to kind of touch on earlier in the stream. When it comes to playing around Mechanter War Beast. Is that it's like Riptide Rex. If you're even or ahead, it's just ridiculous at closing the game and giving you an insurmountable lead. But if your opponent knows how to respect it and fight for tempo on board, then the War Beast isn't going to be enough to actually bail you out. Like, even if they played their remaining 2 War Beasts, it's only 8 damage. You know what I mean? And I've got Healing Mystic and Rejuvenator. We've got another Jack's True Sight coming up as well. So that's going to force another Plasma Storm out of my opponent. So they killed the egg, played a Mystic. And you can see my opponent's roping. Very hard turn for my opponent. So with Razorback, that's 6 plus 5 is 11 plus 6 is 17, which is lethal. Yeah, we got the follow from I Really Don't Know 3341. Thank you and welcome to the Knighthood. I really don't know.